Hello, everybody. Happy November. We are back here in the For Busy Moms Fitness, Nutrition, Mindset, and Accountability community. Here in this group, remember, we go live the first Thursday of every single month at noon Eastern Standard Time. I don't think this year we've had to switch the day, so keep that in mind, add it to your calendars. Every once in a while, like today, I do add the Zoom link so you can actually jump in the Zoom room with me. If you are watching live on Facebook right now, let me drop that in the chat again for you, just so you have access to it, because maybe you missed it. So you can jump in, you can get real coaching, we can talk through what exactly you want to work on. So today we are talking about creating your holiday blueprint. And I've got two awesome sheets for you. I'm going to show them to you. I'm going to share my screen here shortly. But in this group, we are all about learning and taking action. So often we listen to all these trainings, we do all these things, and we're like, okay, I'm going to go do it. And we don't actually follow through. We have all this great intention, but there's no actual follow through. That being said, today, when you are listening, whether you are watching on Facebook or you're on YouTube down the road or you are here in the Zoom room with me, we are going to be working through creating a plan so that you can be successful this holiday season. You can maintain, not gain, and that you can feel your best. So, let's dive in. If you are watching live right now, make sure to drop a live in the comments. I have a few of you who wanted the replay. I will make sure you get tagged in that. And if you also are like, oh, I won't be able to stay for the whole thing, this live stays in Facebook for 30 days. It gets moved to YouTube by Monday, or doesn't get moved. It gets added to YouTube, our YouTube channel by Monday. So I'll make sure to drop that link in the comments. And then we also send out an email tomorrow and Saturday of like, hey, in case you missed it, you can go back and watch. So let's get started. Our holiday survival checklist. We're going to start with that first. If you want access to either of these, you can drop either checklist or blueprint in the comments, and I will send you the link so that you can actually download these and fill them out on your own. Because sometimes there is so much going on that it is better when we are just kind of being told and we just got to check things off and move through. So it looks like we are sharing. Perfect. So, our holiday survival checklist, simple daily habits to stay consistent and stress free this holiday season. So, what I've done is I've created a checklist of what I believe are some of the most important things that if you do nothing else this holiday season, this is what you need to focus on. Not just on the days when there isn't a holiday party or there isn't an actual holiday, for instance, like the day before Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, and the day of Thanksgiving. Like every single day, we want to make sure we're getting as much of these in as possible. So, one of the cool things you can do is you can print this off. And the easiest way, instead of printing off a bunch for every day, is print one off and either put it in a page protector, like what you'd put in a binder, where it's that clear and you can like wipe it off, or laminate it. Then every day you hang it up. And you can use a dry erase marker to mark off what you've done and then clear it and start over each day. It's going to save you some paper. I know I've only got a black and white printer and it's been telling me it's been out of ink or almost out of ink for about 2 months now. So the way that I can make sure that I have it posted and I can reuse it, I find this is the easiest. So let's go through the actions. We've got drink 60 to 90 ounces of water. The reason I have this is there is a range. My goal is 90 ounces. So I may cross this off and I may say, or I may highlight 90 ounces of water just to make it more specific to me. If you're someone who's barely getting 30, maybe you're going to adjust this and say you want to hit 40 ounces of water and slowly build your way up. So these are general, but if you are below some of those minimums, we want to slowly, gradually build ourselves up. So drinking X amount of water. My goal for you would be 60 to 90. Move your body for 10 to 15 minutes. I don't care if that's walking outside, playing with the kids, riding a bike, going to the gym, working out in the basement, doing a dance on YouTube, doesn't matter. But I want you to move your body for 10 to 15 minutes every single day with intention. Set aside your phone or put your AirPods in and listen to something and just move your body for 10 to 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be high intensity, but it can be simple and easy. The third one is eat a balanced breakfast with protein. So I feel like I need to say this, but breakfast is one of the most important meals. And really, we should be having a big, well rounded breakfast to get started. For some of us, it looks different. And that being said, you're going to be able to format this to what this looks like for you. I always try to have something with fiber. I always have something that's high in protein. I always make sure I've got some healthy fats and some carbs because those are all things that are going to give me the energy to get my day started and to stay energized all throughout the day. And it will help with my blood sugar levels as well. This next one may be hard for some of you, especially during the holidays, because there's so much to be done. And I find when I work with women and when I work with moms, we fall into the I need to get it all done, and we sacrifice our sleep. So, for some of you, 7 to 8 hours may be a huge challenge because you've been getting 4 to 5. And this also goes back to what stage of life you're in. If you have a newborn, getting 7 to 8 hours is not realistic. So, alter that to whatever is realistic for you. If you've been getting 5, try to aim for 5.5. Can you go to bed a half hour earlier? Can you sleep in a half hour? It all kind of depends on what your life looks like, but we want to make sure we're focusing on sleep. If you're somebody who doesn't have little kids and you have a little bit more flexibility, aim for 7 to 8. I've been hitting a little over 7 consistently, and I can 100% see a difference compared to when I only get 6, 6.5. Yeah, sometimes it's only 30 to 60 minute difference, but it makes a big difference in our brain and our body and recovery. Spend 5 minutes outside. We want to make sure we are getting outside, especially as it's getting colder and it's getting darker. So, making sure that you're getting outside, preferably when the sun is out, getting that fresh air, trying not to take our phones with us, even if it's like, hey, I'm headed out the door to go on an appointment. I'm going to leave, in quotations, leave 5 minutes earlier so I can just kind of walk around the driveway, the yard, or I'm going to get to where I'm going and I'm going to walk a little bit just to get some of that fresh air before we go do that next thing. Write down one thing you are grateful for every day. So you can do this in your phone, you can send this to a friend, you can text it to yourself, or you can have a little notepad. But really getting in the practice of what good happened today. And it could be, I drank my water. It could be, I got all my Christmas shopping done. It could be, I feel prepared for Thanksgiving. It doesn't have to be specific health and wellness. But what we're doing is we're reframing our mind instead of thinking, I have so much to do, I didn't get anything done. We're reframing into, I did things for my body. I was productive. We are just reframing our mindset. This is probably going to be a challenging one for a lot of you. And it's all going to be different based on who you are. So if you know like this is way too many things to focus on, literally just put a line through the ones you're not going to focus on. Pick at least two and focus on those two. But say no to one unnecessary commitment. So maybe it's a holiday party, maybe it's going out, maybe it's a work event, maybe it's signing the kids up for something that they really don't enjoy. You've kind of been forcing them to do it. You don't enjoy it. There's a lot of fight. Maybe this year you just say no to the commitment of that. But really looking at your schedule and saying no to one unnecessary commitment. We say yes all the time. We need to protect our yeses. Take one thing off your to-do list. So delegate. If you've got older kids or you've got people in your family that you can delegate to, you do not have to do it all. Say, hey, I need you to do this year. I know I've been doing it for years, but I need you to do this. I need help with this. Delegate at least one thing per day if you can. If you can't do it per day, think about per week, or maybe just say, I'm going to delegate one thing this holiday season. You can play around with these. And then the final one is do one activity that brings you joy. For that, that may be back to the movement. It may be going outside. For some of you, it may mean sitting down and getting to read for a page, even if it's just one page, or listening to a song, or being able to watch a little bit of a show, or actually being able to cook instead of feeling like you're always running about. So, those right there, I know it's a pretty long list. If I were to tell you to focus on 2 to 3 of them, I would say the first one, drink 60 to 90 ounces of water, move your body for 10 to 15 minutes, and then it's really hard, but I would say either focus on your sleep or the balanced breakfast. Those are a hard tie for me. So if you are somebody who is just overwhelmed by the length of this list, that's okay. There's a lot, and you do not have to do it all, but print it off, draw a line through the ones you're not going to do, and then the ones you are going to do, put it in that page protector and mark them off each day and feel that satisfaction when you cross something off. So, that is the first thing. And the reason I started with this is I wanted you to kind of get an idea of what habits can look like, not just during the holiday season, but honestly all year round. Because holidays are kind of like vacations, as we treat them as these short-term reasons for us not to do the thing that we know how to do, and then we come back or the holiday's over and we're like, okay, let's start over. And then we're like rebuilding these habits. For some of us, it may mean every single Monday because you're good Monday through Friday. Then the weekend comes, you lose all control. You don't do any of your habits. And then Monday comes and we're starting back over. The goal is to make it consistent every single day, but to know that consistency looks different every single day. So for some days, it's hitting that 90 ounces of water. For others, it's making sure I get a minimum of 60. So finding those balances in there. So that being said, we're going to move on to the actual blueprint. And we're not going to be able to get through the whole blueprint today because I'm going to go through it. And what I want you to do is take longer time. And just with the time we have here, we just won't have enough time. I want you to like sit down and go through it and think about some of these questions and not just answer once off whatever's off the cuff. So we are going to move on to that blueprint. Once again, if you want access to this, type blueprint in the comments and I will send you the link so that you can actually print this out and work through this. If you're following along with us right now, all you got to do is open up a notebook and start answering the questions that I am going through. So let's get started. Small, consistent habits add up over time. So as we are moving through, oh, that's the last page. I had printed it off and I worked through this a little bit because I wanted to show you that I even do this for myself. So as we move through, we have this is going to be your main page, just a little reminder and what to do with it. And then you have step one, which is our reflection of our year. So before we move ahead, whether it's into the holiday, into the new year, into a new goal or plan, it is always important to reflect on the past. What has worked? What hasn't? When did we feel in control? What habits are we enjoying and that we want to improve on? Or which ones have we kind of realized we've stepped into and we really want to do less? So for here, we've got the first one. What went well this year? Like, what are things looking back? And I do want you to tailor this idea around fitness, nutrition, mindset, your health and wellness. So maybe for you, what went well this year is you started focusing on fiber and you lowered your cholesterol. Or maybe you took your phone out of the bedroom. For me, we got the phone out of the bedroom, which was great. I've tracking my habits and I've always known, and I teach people it, but I even go through stages and I'm not going through stages. I'm just tracking all the time now. And it's so great to see in that instant gratification when I mark off that I did the thing that I said I was going to do. Um, and then honestly, movement as a whole went well this year. Habits and routines that make you feel your best. So, as you're thinking about this and you think back to earlier this year, what routines or habits made you feel really good? Was it an early bedtime? Was it eating breakfast in the morning? Was it when you actually got up and did your workout rather than waiting till the end of the day? Maybe you're somebody who likes to go outside and ground themselves and walk in on the grass right away in the morning. Maybe it's the fact that you just had a morning or bedtime routine. Like, what things made you feel your best? When did you feel strong, confident, or in control this year? And what helped you get there? The no-brainer for me, honestly, is when I track and when I actually put things in my calendar. Because when they live in this land of, oh, it's going to happen, they never get done. And then they never get done. And then I feel like I'm letting myself down. So instead, I am making sure that I am adding things to my calendar and I'm making them a commitment right away. And to do this, this looks like setting down and setting up my plan for the week, or maybe this is setting up my plan for the month, or a little bit of both, knowing that things change. And then the fourth one here for step number one is, what challenges or habits do you want to improve or release? So when I say release, I want you to think of get rid of, reduce so for some of you, it may be drinking. For some of you, it may be eating out, things like that. So, what are habits you want to improve? One of the ones that I put is I've been focusing on 10K. I've been focusing on 8K steps, and I've been hitting that consistently. That I want to get back up to 10K. There's been a lot of transitions happening, which we all feel and have at different times of the year. And when that happens, I go back to 8K, but I need to get back up to that 10K because I know I feel better. My body feels better. My back feels better because I'm more active throughout my day. And making sure that I'm getting that 10K throughout the day and not just in the morning or not just at night. So that is our step one. And like I said, I actually filled it out too. So taking time. So after we have created, and if you want access to this, drop blueprint in the comments and I will send this to you. I'm going to stop sharing here for a minute as we move on to step number two. So, step two is defining our minimums. Our minimums are our absolute bare minimum baseline habits. They're simple, doable actions that help you feel your best even on the busiest days. So, and we want to break this into three compartments. We want to break it into movement minimums, nutrition minimums, and mindset/ self care minimums. So, when it comes to these, I want you to come up with examples or things. It's okay if this list is really long. For right now, I just want you to kind of brain dump of what your minimums would look like. For me, a minimum is 8K steps, like I mentioned, and it's either 5 or 10 minutes of strength training or walking every day. If I have to break that up, I break it up. If I can do it in one setting, awesome. But it's a minimum that I have that I feel like is really doable. When it comes to nutrition, it's the 90 ounces of water, palm size serving of protein at each meal, and two fist size servings of veggies. If you're thinking, Morgan, those are not minimums, those are like my actual goals, that's okay. Go back to that checklist that I shared and find something on here that's a minimum for you. Maybe it's just protein at breakfast because that's a meal that you know you are skipping out on. Or maybe it's you're only drinking 40 ounces of water and you want to get to that 60. So you're going to aim for 50, and that is going to be your bare minimum. Find those minimums. Those minimums over time are going to slowly increase. But that is if nothing else happens, that is what you are doing. Mindset and self-care. Um, no phone in the bedroom. That is a big one that I've done really well with lately, and I want to continue that. So I can get up and I can grab my phone. I can be on my phone up until I go to the bedroom. But once I walk into the bedroom, phone gets plugged in and it goes down. The other one is get outside for at least 5 minutes a day. With it being dark sooner, and some days we don't have a ton of sun here in Michigan, that is a huge one for me, especially in the winter. In the summer, it doesn't affect me as much, but in the winter, my minimum changes where I need to get outside for at least 5 minutes, ideally when the sun is shining. If it's not when the sun is shining, it's going to happen whenever I'm able to make it happen. So figure out what your minimums are going to be. Make a list of them, and they're going to change. Right now, your minimums may look different than what they look like in the spring or the summer or the fall. Think about minimums for your holiday season. We got step three. So we've reflected on this year. We've talked about minimums, and we're not going to be able to get through this whole thing. Like I said, it's going to take us some time to fill these out, but I'm going to kind of do a quick overview of the last couple steps just so you know. And then if you drop blueprint in the comments and you drop checklist, you will have all the sheets. And then if you drop the word Kickstart, you and I will jump on and we'll actually work through this together, create your habits and intentions for the holiday season, and talk about how we can work together if that's a route you want to go down so that you can be held accountable and not just have these actions that are like, great, we're going to have another thing to do, but I'm terrible at holding myself accountable. So if you're interested in that, drop Kickstart below. Step three, we're going to set your holiday goals. So, looking at your reflections and your minimums, we want to create simple goals. We want to create 2 to 3. That's it. So, the first question is, how do you want to feel this holiday season? Think about, do you want to have energy? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel productive? Do you want to feel lean? How do you want to feel this holiday season? And then, what 2 to 3 areas, if you're someone who's new to this or you are somebody who typically goes for all of it, I really want you to focus on two. If you're someone who wants a little bit of a challenge and you've been successful with taking on more, you can try three, but stick around two areas that you want to focus on. For me, it's movement and nutrition because those are the two with all the holiday food that tend to come up and have a few little roadblocks. So, those are going to be my focuses. So, my top 3 goals then, knowing that movement and nutrition are my area of focus, is to hit 10K steps a day. So, starting today, November 6th, I'm going to be hitting 10K steps a day. And then my other goal so I have one movement goal. My other goal is going to be nutrition. And it's really going to be focusing on getting that palm size serving of protein at every single meal and snack and making sure I'm getting my fiber in because fiber is super important. We've talked about this in podcast episodes and some others, and we can do a whole nother training on this. But that is my nutrition goals, to focus on my protein and my fiber for this holiday season. Knowing what fiber sources are and knowing that when I have access, I'm going to grab them. Same knowing what high protein sources are. When I have them, I can grab them. And when I know they're not going to be around, how can I plan and prepare ahead of time to make sure I hit those goals? So then, step number 4, your holiday survival blueprint. So now we're pulling everything together. And we have first thing I want you to do is I want you to think of either a word or a phrase for the season. So it can mean take a deep breath, it can mean intention, it can mean action, it can be whatever. For me, it's going to be do it anyways. Even when I'm tired, even when I'm overwhelmed, I need to stay committed to myself. So 10,000 steps, that's literally setting reminders to get up and move every hour, like 250 steps an hour. It's something super small that if I can break it up and I can remember to get up and move by adding reminders, by tracking my habits, by adding sticky notes, anything I can do, that will end up being a breeze. The next thing so do it anyways. So is that you want to come up with your word or your phrase. Then we have our minimums. So I told you what my goals for this holiday season were 10K steps a day, fiber and protein. Knowing that that's my goal, I also have to have minimums for those days when life just throws that curveball. So my goal is 10K, my minimum is 8K. My goal is 90 ounces of water, my minimum is 60. My goal is 100 grams of protein and 25 grams of fiber. My minimum, really, those should be my minimums if I think about it based on what other things have been going. But I've got my minimums and then I have my goal, like your optimal. And then for mindset, if you did choose 3, your mindset or self-care would be the other one. And then you can add a weekly goal because there are some things you're going to do more on a weekly basis instead of a daily basis. So that could mean food prep, that could mean um, doing X amount of strength workouts. That can mean sitting down and planning your week, can mean a variety of things, but come up with your weekly goals and then figure out what you are going to do when you start to feel stressed and overwhelmed. For mine, it's don't get caught on the goal, go back to the minimums. The minimums are there because they're easy and you can accomplish them. And then step 5 is committing to your plan. So after you get through all this, you need to think about what are you going to do starting today to help you take action. So for me, it's always updating my habit tracker. It's saying it out loud, sharing it with someone else, or putting it in my habit tracker so I can get started. And then what is one thing you'll keep in mind when things get busy? Do as much as you can. Some is always better than none. And then there's a fun little spot for you to sign and date it so that you are committing to yourself because We need to be able to commit to ourselves and show up for ourselves. And sometimes we just don't. And for some of us, it looks different on what actually helps that commitment follow through. Personally, it may be signing that contract. It may mean telling somebody. We are all different, but figure out, sign that contract to yourself, post it, share it with your family so they know that's what you're working on. And you'll have some little accountability without even knowing it. So, we covered a ton today. And like I said, I really want you to take some time to go through this blueprint, to go back to this video, to actually download it, to drop the word in the comments so I can actually get you the handouts so that you can start working on these. And then let's go over it. Drop Kickstart if you want to book a one on one call for us to go over it, create your plan, and to see what sort of accountability options are out there for you this holiday season. So, things to look forward to. We had a podcast episode released today on the Empower Her Wellness podcast. So, go check that out. We've got a new one every Thursday. We have a fun one Thanksgiving week that is coming out actually a day earlier. So, it'll be on Wednesday, Thanksgiving week, but it's all around Thanksgiving. So, I wanted to get it to you before it started. And then as we're moving into those holiday seasons, if you need little reminders or you have questions, please post them here in the group. Let me know what you have, what questions you have, where you're struggling, and I will get you anything you need so you can be successful. Until next time, have a great day, everybody.